Welcome back, folks. Got another great recipe for you today. This is a Malaysian curry with lemongrass, one of my favourites. It's actually out of Madhur Jaffrey's Ultimate Curry Bible. Observant viewers will have noticed that one or two of my recipes actually come out of the Ultimate Curry Bible. It's a great book. I highly recommend it. It's not just got recipes, it's got a lot of information about unusual ingredients and how to handle them. Yeah, I'll put a link in the description so you can get that if you want. So, full disclosure here. For this recipe though, you're going to need this. It's called tur dal or tuva dal. Very widely available in any Indian grocers. There's not so many special ingredients in this. It's all very easy to find. Yeah, obviously you're going to rinse this and soak it overnight. Before you cook it, it will cook a lot quicker that way. I'll show you what I do now. In the pan, you can see about 200, maybe 220 grams of lentils. I washed them well and soaked them. They've now swollen up quite nicely, which means they cook quicker. Also, you might wonder what this stuff is. This is actually seaweed. It's a piece of Japanese kombu, 2 pieces there. I really like the flavour. I think, especially in this dish, you'll see why later, but it actually works quite well in this dish. Once it's cooked down, it also is very nutritious and it will make the lentils more digestible. So if you really can't stomach seaweed, of course leave it out, but I think you'll see there's a good reason to put it in this dish. Anyway, this is going to go on a low heat and simmer for about an hour, and while we do that, we can prepare the other ingredients. To go in with that tur dal, you're going to need 2 sticks of lemongrass. I like to put it in when I start cooking, and I'm going to show you how you prepare that now. There's a little knack to it, which not everyone knows. Basically, you remove the outer leaves. You see you've got the bottom knot on there. Well, leave it on. Don't take it off. So I'm going to trim it a little bit, but just as if I was chopping an onion that professional way that chefs do, I'm going to leave that bottom knot on because it holds all the leaves now together. It's gone a bit brown there. We don't want any of that. We'll cut that off, and I'll do the same on this one. Get this leaf off here. And just trim off that. Trim it down. There we go. So now my lemongrass is all going to be held together, and so that this imparts the maximum flavour into our curry, we're going to bash it slightly to separate the fibres. I like to use the pestle out of a nice heavy mortar and pestle. Okay, you can see it's split up nicely now. And it smells wonderful, so it must be good. Yeah, if you don't have one of these, just use the back of your knife, or the butt, whatever you need, just mash it up. That's it. That will go in with the dal and simmer away for an hour or so. To prepare the rest of the ingredients, it's dead simple. It's all just going to go in a blender. So first thing, 2 habaneros. It's quite a hot dish. I think habanero works really well with this because it's got eggs and some fish. I like the kind of buttery notes in habanero, and of course it's hot. It saves me buying lots of others. If you're not using habanero, you're going to need like 10 to 20 bird's eye chilies or something. Right, then I've got about 45 grams of ginger, 100 grams of shallots, 4 whole anchovies, and 100 millilitres of water. And just pulse it until it's nice and smooth. Whoa, okay, pretty strong. Yeah, we're also going to put some turmeric in, but I don't put it in my blender because it stains my blender yellow. Right, so I just add that later on. But for all the other ingredients, that's it really. So let's wait now till that dal is done and we can add this to the other ingredients. The dal has been cooking down nicely now for about an hour and a half or so. It's getting quite tender, so it's time to add the other ingredients. Nothing special here. Just take the top of the blender and dump it all in. In fact, we can just give the blender a bit of a rinse out with some cold water. At this stage, you don't really need to worry about thickness. Yeah, we can sort that out later just by adding more water, as long as you don't make it too thin. I think that's going to be fine. Next, we're going to put in 2 tablespoons of tamarind, thick tamarind paste. Now, a quarter of a teaspoon of turmeric. And a whole can of coconut milk. I've got some nice organic coconut milk here. Also to this, I'm going to add 2 teaspoons of salt. Once this comes back to the boil, I'll simmer it for about 10 to 15 minutes. And then we're ready to move to the next stage. Okay, that simmered for 15 minutes, and as you can see, I've just dumped it out into a big bowl here, and I'm going to sieve it back into the pan. But first, I'm going to rinse out the pan. Okay, here's my pan, all nicely cleaned out. You're going to need a coarse sieve. Unfortunately, the handle's come off this one, but it's quite a nice fit, so I just need to hold on to this really. And I'm going to start pouring it through. The liquid will go through very quickly. I find whenever you're pushing something through a sieve, the best thing to do first is not to start pushing straight away. Just stroke it with the spoon, draw things off the side of the sieve and let the liquid flow through, and you'll see it just drains much more quickly. Wait until you get to the really thick stuff before you put the elbow grease in, really pushing it through. I know pushing things through sieves is not every housewife's favourite way to prepare food. But in this instance, it's going to make such a big difference to the end result. So it is worth a little effort. And of course, it can be done well ahead of time. And it freezes incredibly well, or it'll keep in the fridge. So, you know, it doesn't have to be stressful. After much elbow grease, I've finally got all that pushed through a sieve. You can see it's got a lovely texture. That consistency of single cream. Any thicker and you just water it down. So it is maybe advisable to just err on the side of caution. Use less water while you're cooking it, because you can always thin it down. You can't thicken it up again. Anyway, this effectively, the sauce is now finished. So if you're going to freeze it or save it, yeah, this is the stage to do it. But what I'm going to eat now, I'm going to put it into a smaller pan to finish it off. Okay, we're ready to serve up. I'm going to get the rice going. It's quite a short video because there's a very simple curry, so I'll show you a little trick with the rice. When you're doing rice by the absorption method, first thing you need is a tight fitting lid. You'll notice it's a frying pan. It doesn't actually matter. What matters is that the lid is tight fitting. And of course it's non-stick, so I have no problems with rice sticking. I've also soaked the rice a bit beforehand, so it's going to cook much quicker. In fact, so quick I have to keep an eye on it. Put that on, and I'm not going to start one plate, I'm going to start two. I'm going to start this plate on full, and I'm going to start this plate on low. Okay. As soon as this boils, it's going to go on the low plate here, and my curry is going to come onto the hot plate to heat up. Another little thing that I do before I serve up, I found this stuff, extra virgin coconut fat. So when the rice is finished, or just before it's finished, I'm going to open this, I'm going to take about a dessert spoonful and stir it through the rice. When you serve it, it will have the most lovely light coconut fragrance, and it also helps stop the rice sticking to itself. So that's a little tip for you. Really impress your dinner guests if you open that pan of rice and the smell of coconut starts wafting out. Also, while we're waiting, here I've got 2 poached eggs. I poached them just for 2 minutes, so they're still quite soft, and they'll need another 2 minutes. Well, I'll give them maybe another 1.5 minutes in the curry sauce just before I serve up. Okay, so these will cook. These will finish very quickly. They won't need long at all, and you have to be very careful not to overcook your eggs with this dish. So these go in last. Okay, my rice is starting to boil quite vigorously. Just leave it on another few seconds to get it going, and move it straight over to the cool ring. Curry sauce on the hot ring. There you go. Now there's no way this rice can boil over or burn. That's going to cook on a nice low temperature, and this is going to heat up nice and quickly. My rice is almost done now, so it's time to put the eggs into my sauce. And they're still very fragile, so we use a strainer here. But they look really good. You can just break the eggs straight into the sauce. It will be edible and nice, but I think this looks really nice when they're just poached perfectly and then dropped in the sauce like that. Okay, 1.5 minutes. So here it is, the finished article. You can see it just looks delicious. I've got something quite nice that will go with it. This is some homemade jalapeno and lime chili sauce. And here I've just got my jasmine rice, which now smells beautifully of coconut. So let's taste it. Mmm, lovely. I'm going to try some of this sauce on it. Really nice. So there you have it. Overall, very simple dish, very quick to cook, and very delicious. I hope you decide to give it a try at home, and I look forward to seeing you again next time. Bye for now.